Hey everyone, welcome back. Real quick before we start, I just want to say thank you for being here, making these videos, researching these stories, trying to get the details right and the tone right, and actually respect the culture instead of just exploiting it for content. This is what I care about. This is my passion. If these stories resonate with you, if you find yourself coming back for more, please subscribe. Hit that like button. It genuinely makes a difference, helps me keep doing this, helps me know there's someone out there listening. Alright, let's get into tonight's story. So we're talking about manholes tonight, specifically manhole covers in Seoul, and why you shouldn't step on them after midnight. If you've walked around Seoul at night, you've seen them everywhere. Those metal covers, usually round or square, set into the sidewalk or street, access points to the tunnels and sewers and utility systems running underneath the entire city. Most people don't think about them. You walk over them 100 times a day. They're just part of the urban landscape, background infrastructure you stop noticing after a while. But there's this belief, urban legend, folklore, whatever you want to call it, that after midnight the manholes aren't safe, that stepping on certain covers will get you pulled down, not by anything mechanical, not a structural failure where the cover gives way, something else, something that lives underneath. The underground people, some call them, sewer dwellers. People who went down into those tunnels decades ago and never came back up, or came back changed, or never were people at all, but something older that's always been down there in the dark. Tonight's story comes from Jihoon. He's 32 now, works in IT, lives in Gangnam, completely normal guy. But 7 years ago, so that'd be 2017 winter, he had an experience that changed how he moves through Seoul at night, changed how he thinks about what's underneath the streets he walks every day. This is what he told me. December 2017, late night, maybe 12:40 a.m. Jihoon had been out drinking with co-workers in Sinsa-dong, one of those team dinners that starts at 6 p.m. and somehow extends past midnight because nobody wants to be the first to leave. You know how it goes. By the time he finally said his goodbyes and stumbled out of the pojangmatcha they'd ended up at, it was pushing 1 a.m. and he'd missed the last subway by over an hour. He lived in Yeouido at the time, other side of the river, too far to walk, but taxis were being weird, kept canceling his cacao requests, probably because the destination wasn't profitable or something. So he started walking. Figured he'd walk toward the river at least, maybe catch a taxi along the way. Worst case, he'd walk the bridges, get some cold air to sober up. December in Seoul is brutal, that dry cold that cuts through whatever jacket you're wearing, makes your face hurt. But he was drunk enough that the cold felt good actually, clarifying, made the world sharper. He was walking down this side street in Sinsa residential area. Lots of low-rise buildings and small businesses closed for the night. Not many people around, occasional other drunk person wandering home, taxi passing by with passenger already inside. That late night Seoul quiet, where the city is still awake but barely, just humming on low power until morning. That's when he heard it, someone calling for help. Faint, muffled, coming from somewhere close, but he couldn't pinpoint where. He stopped, looked around. Empty street, parked cars, closed storefronts. Called out, "Hello? You okay?" No response, just silence. He kept walking, figured he'd imagined it, then heard it again, help. Please, help me. Definitely real this time, definitely close. He turned in a circle trying to locate it. The voice was coming from below, from the ground. He looked down, saw he was standing next to a manhole cover. Standard Seoul municipality maintenance access, metal cover maybe a meter across, set into the sidewalk. The voice was coming from down there. Jihoon crouched down, putting his ear near the cover. Could hear more clearly now. Someone underneath, voice echoing up through metal and concrete, begging for help. Please, I'm stuck down here. I can't get out. Please help me. His first thought was someone from utilities, maintenance worker who got trapped or hurt. He pulled out his phone, about to call 119 emergency services, when the voice said, "Don't call anyone. Just help me open this. I can't push it from down here. It's too heavy. Just lift the cover." Something about that stopped him, made him hesitate. Because why wouldn't you want emergency services if you're trapped in a sewer? Why specifically say, "Don't call anyone"? He stood up, took a step back from the manhole, said, "I'm calling 119. They'll get you out safely." The voice changed, dropped the pleading tone, became flat. "You should help me now," while I'm asking nicely. Not threatening exactly, just stating fact. Jihoon felt his skin go cold in a way that had nothing to do with December air. He backed away from the manhole, kept his phone out. "I'm calling for help," he said again. "They won't find me," the voice said, "but I'll find you." Jihoon turned and walked away fast, not quite running but close. Pulled up his phone, fingers shaking from cold and adrenaline, called 119. Explained what happened, someone trapped in the sewer, this specific location, please send help. The dispatcher took the information, said they'd send a team to check it out, asked if he could stay at the location to guide them. He said no, said he had to get home, sorry, but he'd given them the exact address. Hung up and kept walking, didn't look back, got maybe 2 blocks away, almost to the main road where there'd be more people and lights and normal midnight traffic. Past another manhole cover in the sidewalk. Heard it again. Same voice. "You should have helped me, Jihoon." He stopped dead. It knew his name. He hadn't said his name to the voice, hadn't identified himself at all. He looked at the manhole, could see movement in the small drainage holes on the cover's surface, something shifting in the darkness underneath. He started running then, actually running, drunk stumbling, run toward the lights of the main road. Every manhole he passed, and Seoul has thousands of them, you don't realize how many until you're actively noticing, he heard something. Not always voices, sometimes scratching, metal on metal, sometimes breathing, heavy and wet, sometimes laughter, multiple people laughing from underneath the street, echo of it following him as he ran. He made it to the main road, Gangnam Dairo, lights and cars and people walking, normal civilization. The sounds stopped. He caught his breath, hands on his knees, drunk and terrified and completely disoriented. Caught a taxi there, went home, didn't look at a single manhole cover the whole ride. Next morning, hangover pounding, he checked the news. Nothing about a rescue operation in Sinsa-dong. Nothing about someone trapped in the sewers. He called 119, asked if they'd sent a team out. They had. Found nothing. No signs of anyone in that section of tunnel. No evidence of someone being trapped or stuck or even accessing that area. Completely empty. Jihoon tried to convince himself he'd imagined it. Been drunk, misheard something, constructed a whole narrative out of drunk paranoia. But he knew what he'd heard. Someone, something down there that knew his name, that wanted him to open that cover, that followed him underground as he ran, speaking from every access point until he reached light and crowds and safety. He started researching after that, found out Seoul's underground tunnel system is massive, not just sewers but subway tunnels, utility corridors, storm drains, maintenance access, bunkers from the war, whole sections that were built and then abandoned when plans changed or funding ran out. There are parts of underground Seoul nobody's mapped, nobody maintains, that just exist in the dark, accumulating whatever finds its way down there. And people do go down there, homeless populations sometimes, looking for shelter from winter cold or summer heat. Urban explorers trying to access abandoned sections, maintenance workers obviously, kids on dares. Most of them come back up fine, some don't come back at all. There's this news story from 2001. Jihoon found the archived article about a maintenance worker who went down to check a sewage blockage in Mapo and didn't return. Search team went down, found his equipment but no body. Searched for 3 days, checked every connected tunnel in that grid section. Never found him. Case eventually closed as accidental death. Body presumed washed away by sewage flow, but they never recovered remains. Another story from 2008. Group of urban explorers, high school kids with flashlights and a camera, went down into the old flood tunnels near Cheonggyecheon. Posted about it online beforehand, said they'd be down there maybe 2 hours filming. Never came back. Police searched, found their entry point, found some of their equipment scattered through the tunnels, but no bodies. 3 kids just gone. That case is still technically open, but nobody's actively investigating anymore. Went down in 2008, never came up, presumed dead but no proof. There are dozens of these stories if you look. People who access Seoul's underground and don't return. Some have explanations: structural collapses, drowning in sudden floods, getting lost in unmapped sections, and dying of exposure or dehydration. But some don't have explanations, just vanishing. And the manholes above where they disappeared, locals start avoiding them, won't step on them, won't park over them, cross the street to walk around them. There's this understanding, passed through neighborhoods as informal knowledge, that certain covers are bad, that something underneath claims them. The phrase underground people is old. Jihoon found references going back to the 70s and 80s, stories about tunnel dwellers, people who'd gone down to escape something, debt, family, law, whatever, and just stayed down there, built lives in the dark, communities of people who couldn't or wouldn't return to surface life. And over time they changed, vision adapted, skin paled, started to resent the people above who had light and air and normal lives, started pulling others down to join them, or just pulling them down for spite, revenge against the world that made them outcasts. But there are older stories too, from before the modern sewers were built. Traditional Korean folklore talks about dokkaebi and other spirits associated with underground spaces, liminal zones between earth and underworld, things that lived in wells, in caves, in any dark place where humans built access points. And when Seoul modernized, when they dug all these tunnels and laid all this infrastructure, maybe they just gave those things more places to hide, more access points to the surface, There's this belief that manholes are thresholds, literal doorways between above and below. After midnight is when it gets dangerous. That's what people say. During the day, manholes are just infrastructure. But after midnight, they become active, become genuine thresholds, and the underground people can reach through, can grab your ankle if you step on the wrong cover, can speak to you from below, learn your name, follow you through their tunnels faster than you can run above ground, can pull you down if you're unlucky or stupid enough to open a cover when they ask. Jihoon never steps on manholes anymore. Not after midnight, not during the day, not ever. He walks around them, takes longer routes to avoid them, gets nervous if he has to stand near one, waiting for a light to change. His friends think it's weird, some OCD thing or superstition he picked up. But he knows. He heard that voice, heard it use his name, heard it following him underground as he ran. And he knows if he'd opened that cover, if he'd been drunk enough or stupid enough to lift that metal disc and look down into the dark, he wouldn't have found a trapped maintenance worker. He would have found something else, and it would have pulled him through. Other people have similar rules, different specifics, but same idea. Don't step on manholes after midnight. Don't step on ones that look newer or cleaner than the others. Those are the ones they use most often. Don't step on ones in isolated areas with nobody around. That's when they're brave enough to grab you. Don't ever, under any circumstances, open a manhole cover if you hear someone calling from below. Doesn't matter how desperate they sound. Doesn't matter if they're begging or crying or screaming. It's never actually a person who needs help. It's them, testing you, seeing if you're stupid enough to give them access. And definitely don't give them your name. If they learn your name, they can track you, follow you through the underground network to wherever you live or work, wait underneath until you're vulnerable and alone, and then, well, nobody's sure what happens then, because the people who get pulled down don't come back to tell the story. Jihoon told me this 3 months ago. We were at a coffee shop in Gangnam, normal afternoon, and I'd asked if he had any weird experiences living in Seoul. Didn't expect this. He told the whole story in this flat, matter-of-fact voice, like he was describing a traffic accident or bad restaurant experience. Not embellishing, not trying to scare me, just stating what happened. At the end, he said something that stuck with me. He said, "You walk over them every day. Hundreds of manholes, thousands. You never think about what's underneath, how deep the tunnels go, how many kilometers of dark, empty space exist under Seoul with nobody maintaining it, nobody checking it, nobody knowing what's down there anymore. We built this massive city on top of this massive underground network and then just forgot about it. But things live in forgotten places, and sometimes they remember us even when we forget them." We left the coffee shop together, walked toward the subway station. There was a manhole cover in the sidewalk, standard city maintenance access. Jihoon walked around it, took 3 extra steps to avoid it entirely. I stepped right on it without thinking, metal cover solid under my foot, and he flinched. Actually flinched, whole body tension, like I'd done something dangerous. "You shouldn't do that," he said. "It's daytime," I said. "It's fine during the day, right?" He looked at the manhole, then at me. I don't think they care about our rules. Day, night, whatever. I think once they know you, Once they've marked you, they're always down there, always waiting, and eventually everyone has to walk over a manhole alone in the dark. Eventually everyone's vulnerable, so why risk it? Why let them notice you in the first place? I've been more careful since then. Notice myself walking around manholes sometimes, choosing paths that avoid them, feeling uneasy when I have to stand on one, waiting at a crosswalk. It's gotten in my head, this idea that something's underneath, that the city we see is just a skin over something older and deeper and less human, that every manhole is a potential entrance or exit, depending on which direction you're traveling. And late at night, walking home alone, I hear things sometimes, probably just the subway running underneath, or water in the sewers, or wind through the tunnel system creating echoes and vibrations. Probably nothing supernatural, nothing threatening. Just infrastructure being infrastructure, the normal sounds of a city built on multiple levels. But sometimes, not often, maybe twice since Jihoon told me his story, I've walked past a manhole cover and heard something that sounds like breathing. Heavy, wet, like someone's down there in the dark, trying to stay quiet, but can't quite control their breath. And I walk faster, don't look down, don't stop to investigate. Because some things are better left unconfirmed. Some noises are better explained away as pipes, or wind, or imagination. Better to walk around the manholes. Better to take the longer route. Avoid the threshold entirely. Better to stay on the surface where you belong, instead of drawing attention from below. Instead of letting them notice you, learn your voice, mark you as someone who knows they exist. There are millions of people in Seoul. Most of them step on manholes every day without incident. The underground people can't grab everyone, can't pull everyone down, or the streets would be empty and the tunnels would be full. So they're selective, they wait. They watch through those small drainage holes in the manhole covers, looking up at the surface world, choosing carefully, looking for someone alone, someone vulnerable, someone who's noticed them back, who's heard them calling, who's broken the rule of pretending they don't exist. Once you've heard them, once you've engaged, even just by stopping to listen, even just by acknowledging that yes, there's someone down there, you're marked, you're on their list, and they're patient. They've been down there decades, some of them, maybe longer. They can wait for you to make a mistake, step on the wrong cover at the wrong time, be alone and distracted and vulnerable. They've got nothing but time and darkness and access to every tunnel under Seoul. So here's my advice, for whatever it's worth. Don't step on manhole covers after midnight. Actually, don't step on them at all if you can avoid it, but especially not after midnight. Walk around them, cross the street, take the long way. And if you hear someone calling from below, if you hear your name spoken from underneath the street, don't stop. Don't respond. Don't acknowledge it in any way. Keep walking. Get to light. Get to crowds. Get to somewhere safe and public. And maybe consider taking a taxi home instead of walking, even if it's expensive, even if it's inconvenient. Because once they know you, once they've marked you, you're never quite safe on Seoul's streets again. Every manhole becomes a question mark. Every late night walk home becomes a navigation challenge, avoiding the covers, staying in light, moving fast through isolated areas. The city you thought you knew develops this second layer, this shadow infrastructure of danger points and threshold spaces and places where something underneath is waiting. And eventually, maybe tonight, maybe next week, maybe years from now, you'll step on the wrong cover. You'll be distracted or tired or drunk, and you'll forget to be careful, and you'll feel it shift slightly under your weight, not falling, not breaking, just shifting, settling, like something underneath just adjusted their grip. And you'll freeze, foot still on the metal, and you'll hear it, breathing from below, and then your name, whispered up through drainage holes, through the gap between metal and concrete, through the threshold you just activated by standing on it. Your name, spoken by something that learned it somehow, that's been waiting for you specifically, that knows you're alone right now, that knows if it moves fast enough, it can grab your ankle before you can run. What happens then? I don't know. Nobody who gets pulled down comes back to tell that part of the story. But I'd rather not find out. I'd rather walk around the manholes, take the longer route, look paranoid to strangers who don't know why I'm avoiding certain sidewalk sections. Better paranoid than underground, better overcautious than marked. Seoul's beautiful at night, neon lights, crowded streets, endless energy, that specific feeling of a city that never quite sleeps. But it's built on tunnels, miles and miles of dark, empty tunnels that go places nobody maps anymore, that hold things nobody talks about. And every manhole cover is a door. Most of them stay closed. Most of them are safe to walk over, but some of them are active. Some of them have something waiting underneath, hand poised to grab, voice ready to call your name, patient as stone and twice as cold. And you won't know which ones until you step on them, and it's too late. So don't step on them. Walk around, stay safe, and if you hear something calling your name from below the street, run. Don't look back. Don't try to help. Don't engage. Just run toward light and people and surface life, away from the dark underneath, away from the underground people who want you to join them, who've been waiting in the tunnels for decades and can wait decades more. They're down there right now, under every street in Seoul, under every neighborhood, under wherever you're standing reading this. Down in the dark with the pipes and the water and the forgotten spaces. Listening, waiting, breathing. And when you walk over them tonight, going home from work or meeting friends or whatever, they'll hear your footsteps through the metal. They'll feel the vibrations of your weight on the cover. And maybe, if you're unlucky, if you step on the wrong one at the wrong time, they'll decide you're the one they've been waiting for, and then you'll hear it. Your name called from below, and you'll have to make a choice. Keep walking or stop to listen. And if you stop, if you acknowledge them, if you break that final rule of pretending they don't exist, then you're marked. Then you're noticed. Then you're on their list forever, waiting for the night you make a mistake and step on the wrong cover and feel that hand close around your ankle and pull. Better to just walk around the manholes. Trust me on that. Some thresholds are safer never crossed.